How many times have you heard somebody say they can't feel their glutes when doing a certain movement? A lot of people will give them the cue, just squeeze your glutes harder, or try to get them to feel the glutes by doing exercises like glute bridges and other movements that just force that position. But the problem is the reason why they're not feeling their glutes is not because the muscle is weak, but the muscle is probably already in a contracted position and it's not in the position to work effectively. So let's talk about some of the reasons why that may be the case, what we can do about it, and more effective cues in order to reinforce the sensation of feeling the glute. Firstly, when people can't feel their glutes, it's not a muscle problem, it's a position problem. So how we need to be thinking about this is the pelvis position is going to impact the tension or the contractility of the glute muscles. For those that are listening, I'm holding a pelvis. For those who want to watch this video, it's on my YouTube channel. As my pelvis dumps forward, that's going to create more tension on the backside of the pelvis. This happens because I don't have the ability to put force into the ground. I don't have internal rotation at the hip. And so what I need to do is shift my center of mass towards my toes. Usually the glute is the thing that helps propel us forward. But if we don't have that ability to do that for some reason, we are going to arch through our lower back, or we're going to flare our ribs, or do one of these other compensations that you would commonly see with somebody who's missing this kind of motion. And so now when this pelvis starts to dump forward, there's a couple things that happen. First, we get this lengthening effect. As our pelvis starts to dump forward, we actually create a lengthening effect through the glutes. And so there's two types of things to consider. First, if the pelvis starts to dump forward, we get this lengthening effect. Sometimes when somebody's center of mass is so far forward, what they end up by doing is squeezing their glutes even more, so they kind of look like they don't have a butt, or they look like they're slouching in this sway back position because they are really contracting the glutes to push themselves towards their toes. So in the first example where I've got this anterior pelvic tilt, I've got the muscles that are more lengthened on the backside. This is going to allow me to externally rotate the femur more in order to push off. So just think of when I'm walking. My heel hits the ground, then I go in the midfoot, and then I push off. This push off phase is really when we start to need that glute to help push us not only forward, but towards the other side. So now that the other foot can land and then start the process all over again. So when I got this anterior pelvic tilt, I'm going to have a lengthening effect of the muscles, which is now not going to put the glute in a position to work functionally. So what we need to be thinking about doing is how can we restore the position of the pelvis to allow for those muscles to work? Now, the second problem is when we've got that sway back or really have the butt clenching, no butt, we have two different issues we need to be thinking about. First, if they really have this squeezing going on in the back part of the pelvis, we got to think the tailbone is being tucked underneath. We're going to have a lot of tension in the back, but also the front part of the pelvis. As I said, if I squeeze my butt, I'm going to push myself forward. Then what's going to happen is think of the top part of the hips as being pulled up towards your head. So just think like you're slouching. You're pushing your hips towards your toes, and so now your rib cage is more behind you. If you just crunch your ribs, you'll feel that happen. So now with this posterior pelvic position, my pelvis is going even more forward towards my toes, so I need something to stop it. That's where the front muscles start to kick in to decelerate, otherwise you're gonna fall on your face. So the best example to picture this is pretend like you're walking down the street, you slip on some ice, you'll feel your hips go forward and scoop underneath you, and then you're gonna lay back. That's essentially what these people are in a constant state of. They're in a constant state of falling, almost falling backwards so much because they're pushing themselves so far forward. They need the muscles in the front of their hip to stop them, to essentially pull them back. And so if we think of the first example of this normal anterior pelvic tilt with the lengthening of the glutes, think of that as a bucket spilling water forward. In this example, this is a bucket spilling backwards. So in this case, we need to be thinking about two different things. How can we open up the front and the back part of the hip? And then how can we reposition the pelvis so now the glutes are in a better position? So I have an exercise on my Instagram page, my YouTube channel, something I really use a lot. It's called the Nutcracker. And essentially what I get people to do is take a half foam roller, put it on a short box, so that their knees are above their hips. That's naturally going to rock the pelvis back. It's going to open up the back part of the pelvis. And then they're going to straddle on top of that half foam roller. So because we've got these squeezed glutes that are going to pull the sit bones together, this is going to go right in between it. And then if I get them to shift side to side, well, then that's going to start to spread the sit bones apart, which is going to inherently open up the back part of the hip. I also like laying on the foam roller on the side because that is going to smush the hips into a better position, where again, I'm going to open up the front and the back. I could also think about going on my stomach and doing some kind of prone exercises again, just to start to open up the front and the back part of the hip. But it's got to be very specific, because if you just put someone on their stomach, they're probably going to arch, you're probably going to squeeze their butt. So you have to position their rib cage and their pelvis in a way that allows for these spaces to open. So I've got that. And then the second thing is, how can I bring my weight back towards my heels without hyperextending my knees, dumping my feet or rolling my feet, crunching excessively, because these people are really going to want to crunch every time they try to open up the back. So we have to put them in a position that keeps their sternum or their chest bone open while simultaneously bringing them back. And so that could be kind of difficult because we need multiple constraints. And it's not as easy as saying, let's do a row. That's not going to be good enough. We need to put them in a position where we can open up the back side of the hip, the front side of the hip, as well as the front and the back of the rib cage, all at the same time. And so we need to be thinking about what position can we put them in, and then what kind of action do we need in order to restore that motion. So doing exercises like lat hang positions, specifically with the lat pull down machine, when somebody takes their legs and they put them on top of the knee pads, not underneath, and then they lean back and they just open everything up. Again, not crunching, but leaning back enough that they can keep their chest up while not allowing anything to collapse. And so again, we can do these types of exercises in order to open things up, but you shouldn't be thinking, let's squeeze the glutes harder, because the glutes are not in a position to work, or they're already squeezed. So you need to be thinking about a different thing. And in fact, in order to really get the glutes going, we actually need to separate the femur from the sit bone. So think of doing a type of hinge variation, specifically something like a kickstand hinge. If you don't know what that is, I have tons of videos on my YouTube channel that show what a kickstand hinge is. I also break that down in my roadmap to exercise selection course. So go check that out, as well as a bunch of different variations. But essentially, if I've got this kickstand position where my right foot is forward, if I can keep that knee bent the whole time and allow the pelvis to roll over top of it, that is now a femur and a pelvis separating from each other. The problem is, a lot of exercises that people are given, like the glute bridges, are bringing the pelvis and the femur together. They're squeezing it even harder. That's not going to effectively load the glute, because we need the glute to be able to lengthen and stretch before we can contract it. No different than an elastic band. So if you're giving people cues like squeeze your glutes, giving them a bunch of glute bridge exercises or glute activation drills, it's not going to work, because we're not appreciating what the position of the pelvis is in. So I hope this helped. If you want more information like this, understanding compensations, go check out my Evolved Biomechanics mentorship. We talk so much about compensations, what they mean, and what to do about it. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time.